Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Core retail sales and retail sales out a little cooler than expected, and seeing just a little bit of a pullback off of those highs, but still you can see how narrow today's pre-market range is. Just 12.75 points of total range right now. We can make this 1 day right here, and you can see how narrow that is, about 24% of average range. Teeny tiny range here. We do have the Juneteenth holiday coming up Wednesday, so this will be the last pre-market video here until Thursday's session. Today, as we mentioned yesterday here, could be a sideways to up type of day, and bulls looking to defend early morning weakness for perhaps a drift higher into the end of the day. The previous session was perfect here with a little bit of a pullback, ended up getting a new high for the day, and then just drilled it during the lunchtime hour. Very strong session overall, and working higher toward the 5600 level. 5600, as we mentioned before, is the 100% target here of this key range. So you have this key range right here that is identifying the 5600 level as the 100% target. Still working toward that level up above. Even if we were to pull back here, it could be a buying opportunity for a continuation toward that target until proven otherwise. Today, again, could get caught in the trap of the chop a little bit, sideways price action, but if we do see new lows, it could be an opportunity to defend for a quiet squeeze into the close. If we take a look here at the NQ, you'll see the NQ looks very similar to the ES today, very narrow range. This one 112 points, 44% of ADR, very narrow at these highs. This one did reach our 100% key range target here at 19,924 and actually pushed through 20,000 for the first time. Very strong overall move to the upside, and as we mentioned a little bit earlier with the ES, if we do pull back and see an overnight, a new low below the overnight low of 2158, that could offer an opportunity for bulls to defend and push it back up. Could be mostly range bound again with an upward bias until proven otherwise, as this market continues to show quite a bit of strength. At some point we may see a strong high develop, which could lead to a bit more of a pullback, maybe a retest of the FOMC key level below, but until then still grinding quietly sideways to up in the NQ. If we take a look here at crude oil, the previous session ended up being an outside day. Very strong bullish session the previous day, and the early thought for today is any pullback towards 79 and a quarter, 79.15 could provide a buying opportunity in the near term. That's the breakout point here. You can see how price rallied through it for an outside day, and price got to 79.19 or 79.17 so far here early in pre-market trading, and so far a nice defense off that zone. Currently bulls defending that area, and we could be looking at a quiet continuation to the upside. As we mentioned before, to reach the midpoint of this key range and blast through it the way it did would tend to suggest a continuation to the key range high down the way. That's 80.62, so we're still working our way toward 80.62. This thing's been averaging about $1.60 per day, $1.50, $1.60 per day. The last few days here have been a little bit lower than that. That's 140, that's 120, that's 140. So can we get $1.40 out of it today? That would be somewhere from the lows of the session. $1.40 would take you very close to the 80.62 level. Very close, maybe 80.50 and change. So if we can get $1.40, $1.50 off the lows, we have a shot to reach that 80.62 by the end of the session. So we'll see how that develops here, but overall bulls defending the 79s for a continuation higher towards 80.62. If we take a look here at gold futures, gold remains mostly in range. This is a failed new low that's developed off the previous session's low. That could provide an up-a-day scenario within this trading range. You can see we have this trading range here, up a day, down a day, up a day, down a day. now testing the previous session's lows, and that could provide an up-a-day scenario where price reverses back toward 23.47 and the previous month's close price. Still range bound overall. At some point here, perhaps we get ourselves a bit of a breakout bar here that could lead to a little bit of strength back toward 2400. Very similar to what happened back here. Range bound action here, breakout bar, and a rotation higher before it dropped back into the range. So similar price action developing here in the GC. Continue to watch the previous session's low, 23.24. Bulls want to keep that area bid for a potential push back up the way. We take a look here at the YM. For the most part, this thing is showing strength through the 39,200 level. 39,250 is the level we talked about as an upside breakout potential there that could lead this thing back toward 40K. A failure to hold that level and you're dropping back into the range toward 38.3. You break down through 38,250, that opens up some downside. So a very unique trading range over the last couple of weeks. With the rollover gap here, this thing pushing to the upside here. Can we see some extension to the upside up ahead through the 39,250s? That's the level to watch here short term. Right now with a narrow range, 33% of average range right now. Sideways to up, likely in play. If we do go down a little bit lower here today, maybe test 39,150, it could be a short-term buying opportunity back up the way. Looking at Bitcoin here, this one's down 2 1/3% right now. New lows over the last couple of weeks and testing the previous month's midpoint. That's a big time breakdown point for this level here, over this range. You can see the previous month's highs are up here, defended early on so far this month, and we have an inverted check mark month down so far. Ideally, bulls keep the previous month's midpoint bid and keep this thing in the upper distribution. A failure here and you start to rotate back toward the previous month's lows. So a big time zone here of support being tested right now. Looking at Ether futures, this one, big move up in the previous session. Today is the complete opposite, giving it all back down 4 1/4% here today, and sitting on the previous month's midpoint as well. Big time level there. Previous month's high right here, and again a little bit up and then down. Inverted check mark month down so far. Bulls want to keep this area bid 3,400. Maybe keep it prices back between 3,400 and 39. A failure here and you start to rotate toward the previous month's low at around 2,800 down below. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops here heading into the rest of the session. Remember, market holiday Wednesday. We'll be back at it on Thursday. Take care, and I'll see you in the trading room.